Hello. I thought I would go over my new book here, Bare Bones Tarot. It's available on Amazon, but they don't have the look inside part of that listing yet in place. They'll have that in the next couple of days. But I thought it'd be good to do this anyway, to show you what the book's about. It's 7x10 format, so it's about an inch. It's an inch wider and higher than my other books. My other ones were 6x9. This is 7x10. And I did that for the reason of the mapped out keyword meanings I have for each card. I was able to make the picture a little bit bigger than what I had in my Essential Tarot. These are the same keywords that I had for Essential Tarot, only now with the Marseille deck. I didn't change these words because they just worked out so well. I think they would work for any deck, regardless if it's a Marseille deck, the Rider deck, or any other deck. They're key words, and that's a little different. But anyway, so to go over the book very quickly, introduction. It's a 465-page book, so it's a pretty thick book. And then I have the introduction here. And the chapter 1 is a look at the tarot for, let me see, chapter 1. Chapter 1 is a look at the tarot for the last 50 years. I've been involved with the tarot for 50 years, so this is what I've seen as far as our perception of the cards, how we went about learning them, what material was out there then in the beginning, and how we viewed the cards as opposed to today. And it's just a short chapter. Chapter 2, Revealing the Mystery. This is where I go into why the cards work. And a lot of you already know that I talk about conceptual blending and mind mapping. And the tarot reading is exactly the same as a creative thinking technique. And I have the diagrams here showing that and how it works. It's conceptual blending and it's card reading. And it's a very simple process, but we just never looked at it before. And this opens up a lot of information as far as what we're doing with the cards, and I think it's a real major breakthrough. Then I go into card meanings and maps. I have mind maps for each card, the keyword meanings on one page, and then the next page over here on the left is the traditional meaning. Keywords at a glance over here, a keyword underneath the title, another keyword in the title over here. This is set up as a 2-page spread for each card. All 78 cards have their own 2 pages. A meaning underneath the card, traditional meaning. Then underneath that I have meanings from the 1980s in the past. And this is taken right from printed material that I still have, that was back then. And underneath that I have meanings from the 1960s, taken from printed material that I still have. So it shows how the card meanings have changed over time. And I think that that's an interesting thing to have in there. The right-hand page is the keywords, like I said, for each card. This is something I came up with that I think is really well done. I like the way that turned out. And so I'll start with the majors, and I have the I put the Fool as number 22 because sometimes that's numbered that way. Over here I have it numbered as 0, but I have the Fool as the last card in the Major Arcana chapter. Again, meanings, at a glance keywords, keyword underneath the title, a different keyword underneath this side, the title, mapped out words, traditional meaning, meanings from the 80s, meanings from the 60s. Each card has that. Then I go into the minors, and I start with each suit of cups, cups up here. This is common on all 4 of those. And I go into each of the cards. Same way, meanings from the 80s, meaning from the 60s, mapped out, keywords there, and each of the cups, each of the pentacles. At the beginning of each suit, I start out like this. Again, this is common for the beginning of each suit. And it uses my deck, the Tarot Marseille, my version. Swords, same way. So it's consistent. It's easy to follow. Wands, lastly. Suit of Wands. And then we go into the Wands. Again, everything is the same, consistent. The next chapter is chapter 3. I go into card spread, anatomy, and instructions. I have this one knocked up. It's written on, so because it's a first round. But card spread and anatomy. And I go into step by step for the Celtic cross, the way it was done by Eden Grays, the ancient Celtic method with a K. Talked about the positions. And then we take a deeper look into that with each card position. Card spread, card position 1, explaining that. Position 2, explaining position 2, and it's diagrammed. Position 3, position 4, talked about. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I do my Celtic cross. A little bit different of a format. Talk about the positions again, diagrammed. Position 3, the client. Position 4, immediate objectives. So it's done in step-by-step fashion. 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I do a sample reading with my cross, going over the first 2 cards, the third card, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9, 10, and summary of the reading. Classical 3-card spread, still in the chapter of card spreads. Advanced 3-card spread methods. The 4 points, my spread, 4 points. Just a bit, that's just some information. It's a very simple spread. 6 points, same way. Horseshoe spread. And then at the end of that chapter, I go into key factors for adjusting and creating card spreads if you want to make your own. And this is a list of things I think you should keep in mind if you're going to make your own card spread. Lastly, with the book, I have in the last chapter, chapter 5, as positional influences. Card positions influence what we see on the cards. So what I did there is I took all the aces and I said, okay, if one of the aces is in position 1 of my Celtic cross, or any card spread, how it changes with each, depending on the position it's laid in. If it's laid in position 1 or 2 with my Celtic cross, these are the meanings that an ace would mean. Position 3 of the aces, showing it there in position 3. how the card shifts in meaning because of that. Position 4, how the aces would shift in meaning. 5, shift. 6, shift. And it's just because you're answering a different part of the question, you're seeing the cards a little differently. 7, position 8, position 9, position 10 of the aces. Then we go into the 2s, positions 1 and 2, what it would mean, and how it would shift, meaning if it was in position 3, or in position 4, how it would shift, position 5, how they shift, 6. And I do that for all of the minor arcana grouped as far as the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, and so on, all the way through the minor arcana. This is the 7s. And underneath each of these cards, I have keywords that fit for the card too. Advancement, improvement, elevation for the 8s, and that's above the titles of the card. 9s, attainment, fulfillment, ownership, and how the 9s would shift position depending on where they're at in each position of the card spread. This shows you that the cards can shift meaning depending on where they're laid in the spread. There's still the same meaning, but how the meaning is perceived or looked at changes. Pages, knights, queens, and then the kings, and then we go into the majors the same way. The Fool, meaning of the Fool, keywords under the Fool, positions 1 and 2, positions 3 for the Fool, positions 4 for the Fool, positions 5 for the Fool, and the meanings shift a little bit here and there, or throughout each position. And I do that for every one of the major arcana too. This is the Magician, and that's how it goes. I've never seen this done anywhere before, but I think it really gives you a real range of meaning on what that card means depending on where it's placed in the card spread. And so I think that could be a very helpful guide as you're learning the cards or want to see them in certain aspects and how they're interpreted and what use you get out of the card depending on where it's positioned. And that's how that's done. So that's the book. I think it's got some things in there you're going to find very unique, and you won't find anywhere else. Closing remarks about me. And then the last, I just put a quick reference guide for the major arcana and the minor arcana in the back of the book too. Bare Bones Tarot. That's it. So now you know about the book. It uses my deck, Tarot Marseille by Patishi, over 1,000 images in the book, and that's that. Remember that we have our monthly get-together, second Tuesday of the month for January. I'm not too sure what date that is, but this is the second Tuesday of the month, 12 o'clock Chicago time. I'm also going to put a link to my deck. I'm going to put a link to the book on Amazon on the bottom of this YouTube. But I'm also going to put a link to my tarotmaps.com, my website, which is where my deck is available if you want to get the deck to go with the book. You don't need to. My books are all written to work with any deck you would decide to use. So anyway, thanks for watching. And if I don't talk to you again, have a happy holiday season, and we'll talk soon.